Welcome back to this episode of Smash and Jank. Today is part 2 of the pool table video. We're going to show you how to finish it, paint it, and how we made it turn from this into this. So stay tuned and we'll get to it.
Smash Engineering.
All right, so first things first, we're going to remove the table. More of like a proof of concept at this point. You could leave your table like it looks, and that probably would work just fine, but I like to make things look as best they can for as little money as they can. So for a can of spray paint and some fabric from Joann's, and actually used a high mil thickness trash bag doubled over, and we're going to make this something that'll weather the elements a little better. All right, now that we got it off, we're going to go ahead and disassemble it. We're just going to take the screws out, take the piece apart, and then go ahead and scuff it down so that the paint will stick to it better. The paint I bought is like a 2-in-1 can. You don't have to primer, or it says you don't have to primer. So, but you could primer it. Use whatever paint you want. You could brush it on. You can spray it on. I do recommend if you spray it on to use a respirator and do it in a well-ventilated area. But this is how we did it. And we picked a gray that was almost identical to the legs of the pool, just to make it blend in a little better. All right, here's that high thickness, high mil trash bag. It's like an industrial trash bag, and the main reason for this was just to keep anything that would soak through the fabric from ruining the wood underneath. I did purposely leave the bottom open, so any moisture that does happen to find its way in has a place to escape. It's not simply trapped inside there. So I'll go ahead and staple this plastic bag on there as neatly as possible, tuck the edges nice, and get some staples in that so that we have a good base for our fabric. Now I'm going to lay the fabric over it, try to center it, pick the pattern that we want to be on the very top, and take some time to do this. This is where the attention to detail will turn out good in the end. So we're going to staple the sides first, and then I'll flip it, and then be careful on your corners here. You want your corners to turn out a little nicer than the garbage bag. Now you can just fold them over if that's what you want, but if you put a little effort in it, the corners turn out really nice, and you'll really be happy with what you got at the end. But either way, this is going to be better than just a solid, plain old piece of wood. So. All right, now that you got the fabric all stapled on there like you want and you're happy with it, bring your frame back, center it up, put your pieces on there just to make sure you're going to have enough before you start screwing them on, and make sure you have enough clearance on each side to get your screws in if you use these style. If you use the one-sided screw clamp things, sorry, I don't know the name of them exactly, but the conduit clamps or whatever. If you use the one-sided one, you probably won't have that much of a problem with it. But just for aesthetics sake, center it, make it look as good as possible. Now, when I was running the screws in an effort to keep it from damaging the threads and unthreading the cloth that I used, I did run the screws backwards for a second just to puncture through it, and then I would go ahead and drive them in. All right, now that we've got that done, we're going to do final install. We're going to bring it back out to the pool, set it back up. Now, the slots should already be there. Everything should already be there for installing it, because we've already had it on there once. If not, if this is your first time, if you're going ahead and skipping the install right away and putting it together like this, then you'll have to slot the splash guards if you have them. If not, you can just go straight around the thing. But I did want to keep this at a little bit of an angle so that water wouldn't just sit on there. And actually what I did, and I forgot to record it, was I laid the board outside when it was like kind of the dew was falling, and I put weight on the edges, and in the very center I put a piece of PVC, and what it did was kind of warp the wood on purpose, so it's higher in the middle and lower on the outer right and left edges. That way water runs off, and pool water and rainwater, whatever, can run off. It's not just sitting there and collecting. All right, here's our final product. I'm super happy with how it turned out. It looks absolutely great, and standing back, it looks like it's part of the pool. It looks like you ordered it as an accessory with the pool. Now, if you wanted to, you could paint those straps. Those are stainless steel, so I'm not worried about them. All right, well, that's going to pretty much sum up this video. Now our pool table is ready to be used. It looks great, and it'll weather the outdoors for years to come. Thanks for watching.